My name is Karen Ogen. I am a Gitsan Wet'suwet'en. I am from the Wet'suwet'en First Nation, and I am the CEO of the First Nations LNG Alliance. We can't think about Canada's extraction of LNG and who we're going to sell it to without thinking about global issues like selling our LNG to Asia and to Europe. And I think that that's a critical part of what the work we do here locally in BC, in the West Coast, which is really important because we have some LNG projects here in BC that need to go to market. So I think it's really important, especially in light of climate change. If we're trying to get countries off of coal, then we need to sell our LNG because coal is a higher emitter than LNG. LNG is the cleanest fossil fuel that we can use. So I think that we're going to help other countries, not only help other countries, but Canada, the provinces, and most specifically the Indigenous people. I think it's really important that we bring a voice to that issue because I don't think that we are hearing so much from the Indigenous people, Indigenous nations, from an Indigenous perspective on why this is important to us, how it impacts us and our economy. And I think that's a really critical message. Well, I think especially up in the north, we're not hearing so much of how these major projects are affecting our economy. And Nation2Nation brings that northern perspective, especially with the different projects that are happening up here in the north. I think it's a critical voice. It's an important voice because not everybody gets to travel down to the lower mainland because then, you know, the message is bigger with a bigger audience and we kind of get lost in the crowd. So I think the northern perspective is really important, and that's what Nation2Nation does, is it brings the northern people together with the northern projects, which is really important. Well, I think it feels really more local because northern issues sort of get missed because, like I said, down in the urban centers, it just seems like we get lost in the crowd. And northern issues, you know, we know it quite well because we, you know, live in the north or are from the north, and we know the issues. And I think to have major projects be really exemplified or shown into the public is really important because I don't think enough spotlight has been put on these major projects in the north that really help impact the First Nations and our economies, and I think that's a critical message that needs to be brought out. I think that Lisa's really built a good, solid, and genuine relationship with a lot of the industries and government, especially in relation to economic development, and I think that's really important, and the work that she's doing is really important. So hands up and hats off to Lisa for the work and for her team as well. She couldn't have done it without her team. So Misai.